It's March 2nd, 2022, and we're hearing word from Kiev that the Russian army continues to intensify its battery. So there's a crisis in the West. Nuclear wars in the news. Who would have thought? Well, here's where I'm coming from. I grew up in Pittsburgh in a Jewish Holocaust survivor community. Anybody who's in charity is always in a swoon when it comes to Holocaust survivors. Never mind that many of these Holocaust survivors have it in their heads never to forgive and never to forget. People bend over backwards for them. And there were geniuses in the Jewish Holocaust survivor community. If you know anything about World War II, one of the oft stated items of interest to people orienting new students to the subject is that Weasler, God protect me from ever having to utter his name, uh, burned Albert Einstein's notes. Well, a lot of Jewish intelligent people uh, um, have respectable positions in our society, but not everybody in this community was respectable. Seattle is still putting their heels behind their ears for John Schulman, who was busted in an $8 million museum heist. The whole UW-Dialectical that closed the schools with the COVID attack is licky chops for their share of gratification over that $8 million, as absurd as it sounds. That's what they're doing. And the Clubhouse movement is completely mobilized to caustically antagonize, intimidate, and scare the living daylights out of anybody who is even aware of this faction called the Green Party. God save us, they behave just like Putin. You call them the Putinese society. He gives some dude plutonium who spreads it around, right? They send in people to spread around AIDS. Trumpy Tune himself seems to have gladly tried to spread COVID-19 to his Secret Service detail. One of the things I remember about the Jewish Holocaust survivor community and intellectuals, particularly among their um, lovey doves, the children who they brought up in all terror and cynicism, the Israeli commandants, was the use of the word absurd. It was like an encapsulation of everything in the life process. It's absurd. So, what I'm going to talk about is absurdity writ large. Gail Burson, who Biden seems to be a bot boy of, said, "Ain't it funny how all I wanted to say has already been written?" This is from Yoko Ono's Fluxus group. It all happens again, only this time it's going to happen backwards, aiming a nuclear attack at the United States. We snuff Queerball to go away, come put me asleep, Jess. Well, the overlap of patterns is what they're stage mastering from the media Mecca puppet show. And to get down to the nitty gritty of what this character building operation Ukraine is all about, the parochial savage never made any secret of what he was doing. The Carl brothers, Lou and Greg Carl. I'm supposedly to blame because they rubbed my face in it and I didn't understand it. It seemed like evil idiocy of some sort. The 12-year-old Jewish girl had sent me, but their brother Mark threw himself into the water to save a drowning kid. He himself drowned. I think he saved the other kid. And I was told this story. And I said, "Well, I'm really sorry he couldn't. I wish he had been able to swim better." I remember Mark, he had a little toy that if you turned it fast enough, you'd give yourself an electric shock. And Lou said very sternly, clearly to convey that I didn't get the message. "No, Jim, he died so that other could live." I said, man, that's really a drag. I'm really sorry that he couldn't swim better. It's a shame. I mean, I admire him, but no, Jim. He died so that other could live. He died so that other could live. This is more important to him than anything. And his brother, or any kind of regret that his brother wasn't still alive, was his single devotion to a death wish idea of sacrifice. Okay, so what I'm getting at is one of the things we know about Putin himself is that he was in touch with Oliver Stone through a great deal. And Oliver Stone was mongering the situation with Cyril Wick. These guys spray painted "I love Cyril Saran" in 1966, a fact proven by Jim Marrs. In 1966, they sprayed "I love Cyril Saran" on my garage door, and they just killed 3 more Kennedys. Good old Death in the Family Joe comes out and says, "Oh, we're stronger for all this stuff that has happened." And I've been trying to reason with these people about ecology since I was a child, since they were dragging me through glass. So, John Schulman used to say that I was like Candide, who goes back, to the past. He sort of has to dredge up the past. And you have Licky Chops battalions lining the streets from Seattle to Pittsburgh saying, "We want to hear him say hello to Fat Didi." The girl from the Near Corporation who set me off on this process as a little boy. So, a very astute gentleman who followed every single word I say will remember that I had it absolutely in for Dune. I liked those books, but when I saw the movie, I knew exactly what this puppet show was up to. The UWDialectical were into the blood oath, blood slavery. I died to prove your worthiness, oh brother. Blood oath, death vow with, the black sage in wow of the mysticism and all of this. And now we're seeing the exact replication playing out with Oliver Stone's friend Putin in the Ukraine. And the Russian soldiers are being asked, why did you do this? And they said, we were lied to. Now that's something all I wanted to say has already been written. You should think about everywhere because they went there or were on exercises and then they got pushed from behind into a war zone. And the whole situation on Mother Earth is being pulled through curtains by a gang that will never forgive and never forget the Jewish Holocaust survivor community. I've been telling you about these people. They want to blow it for everyone. And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to level with you that it's a bunch of uh, media mecha puppeteers who are just pulling strings, smiling as the puppets dance. And they have it all worked out in their heads, the roles that people will be assigned and how they will behave in their assigned roles. The idea, just to get this across to you, the idea that the heroic resistance in the Ukraine is nothing more than the extreme edge of Moxyland playing out, the radical rebellion that has nowhere to go, the forfeiture on the ice, just playing out for the recreation and amusement of a couple of Trumpetunians on high is something that really needs to be considered because these people were highly into and attenuated to absurd theater, and they wanted revenge over the whole spiel. So you got to be really careful about what you think about what's going on. Obviously, we want you to stay safe. We want you to be free of tyranny. But we also want you to be free of being misled by a bunch of really hyper and deranged people from the mentally ill recovery syndicate. Oh, wow. And Jericho Project, like Vince Irini, who doesn't even care that he was aiding and abetting syndicated pedophilia of a mutilationist direction for genocide pornographers. Doesn't even care. Doesn't even care. Does not even care, is what I'm saying. And yet you're being led by people like that. And you have to be careful. That's all I'm saying. I wish you well. Please stay safe. Help some of these people have a little more uh, humanity left rather than smothering everything in their mania.